Hi fam and happy Saturday. Our latest will be about Julius Malema Zweli Mkhize and Floyd Shivambu following VBS scandal. Let's follow up on that. The former VBS chairman is spilling tea regarding VBS looting scandal. As we remember, elderly people in Venda invested their savings and pension fund in VBS hoping to be given high returns. Sadly, all those elderly individuals have not received their money back. Instead, they lost all their lifetime savings. Shockingly, it has been revealed that Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, ANC comrades and SACP members benefited from these funds. A leaked written affidavit by former VBS chairman implicates Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, Zweli Mkhize and others. In the next slide, listen to how Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, Zweli Mkhize and others allegedly benefited from that looting scandal, and let us know of your take regarding this. And that's all we have for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you again next time. Bye.
I am going to talk and expose more about how the system operated. And boy, oh boy, has he started singing. I have been going through Matodzi's affidavit that implicates senior politicians in the ANC, in the EFF, in the SACP. It even implicates the former Director General of Treasury, Dondo Mokgajane. So on the open line this morning, I want you to bear with me. I want to read you the key aspects that are coming out of this affidavit that I've come across on how the EFF and Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema had their lives sponsored, had received monies from Matodzi, whose company was Vele, and Vele was the majority in VBS. Matodzi himself is telling us clearly here what his relationship was between EFF, Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu. So this is in his words. Remember, Polly van Wyk, the Daily Maverick journalist, revealed how VBS money flowed from there to Vele up until it got to the EFF. And then she was attacked for it. Even yesterday I said to you, has the EFF ever taken Polly van Wyk to court? Because they threatened to do that. And of course, many of us knew they were bluffing at the time. Because they don't want to go to court. Because when you get to court, you open your books now. There's so much that is going to be revealed, and you don't have control over that. And I asked you yesterday, does anybody know if the EFF ended up taking Polly van Wyk to court? I'll ask Polly van Wyk to come on the show, probably before we wrap up the 702 open line. She has also been going through this affidavit. So I want to read to you what the affidavit says. I want you to bear with me. I will read you the key aspects of what it says about Dondo Mokgajane, about Floyd. This man details meetings that he attended at Julius Malema's house. He details how the EFF and these two leaders benefited from the VBS loot. So I'm going to read those for you. I just want you to bear with me. And then I'm going to go to your calls. Because I appreciate that some of you don't know about this affidavit and you haven't read it. So I want us to be on the same page here. It's not just the EFF, it's the ANC as well. Dr. Zweli Mkhize is being mentioned here. So I'm going to read that for you on the open line, and then I'm going to go to your calls. Is that fine? Wonderful.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, so Matodzi has started singing, and I have to tell you, I did expect that the minute he starts singing, oh my goodness, it's going to be explosive. But what I'm reading in this affidavit is crazy. After 9:30, I will bring in Polly van Wyk. I'll bring in my colleague Tsidi Madia as well. They've been going through this affidavit as well. So I want to explain to you what's happened and maybe look at what the consequences then will be when I bring them on. That's why I'm asking you to just bear with me, because it's going to take just a bit of time for me to explain, because I'm just telling you what Matodzi says. Now, I'm going to start with Denim Caesar. Denim Caesar is the former Treasurer General of the ANC in Limpopo. Matodzi says in the affidavit that he met with Denim Caesar, and Denim Caesar there was an understanding of what Denim Mkhize was going to do in helping put pressure on municipalities to invest money into VBS. And he says in the affidavit, when I met with Denim Mkhize and another gentleman, Mr. Matsepe, we regularly discussed strategies and proposals to generate more municipal investments, and the discussion would be around making additional funds available to bribe municipal officials. I knew that the gratification payments were intended to include the municipal officials to place new investments with or roll over existing investments with VBS. Around the 20th of December 2017, I received a WhatsApp message from Matsepe. Matsepe is a business partner of Denim Mkhize, requesting that a gratuitous payment be made to the then mayor of Vhembe, Mrs. Florence Radzilani. Just for context, Florence Radzilani is, as we speak now, an MEC in Limpopo government. At some point, she had to step down together with Denim Mkhize for the step-aside rule of the ANC, but they were later on returned to their positions. But she's very much now in the executive in the Limpopo province. That's just the context. This man goes further to say, I've never met the mayor, because Florence Radzilani at the time was the mayor of Vhembe. He says, I've never met the mayor and most of the Vhembe municipality staff, as I was not customer facing at the bank. In the WhatsApp message, Matsepe informed me that the mayor wanted, quote unquote, Christmas money, as the 300,000 rand that was already paid to her and the speaker was not enough for the job they were doing. The gratuitous amount Matsepe was requesting was 1.5 million rand. This payment could not be made, and it was agreed that this request will be finalized after the December holidays. On the 16th of January 2018, I received a long WhatsApp message from Matsepe regarding this issue. It appeared to me that Matsepe had discussed with Poppy about the gratuity being requested as payment to the mayor. It further transpired that Poppy had wanted the mayor to invoice VBS directly using her own entity to ensure that such amounts indeed would end up in the mayor's hands. Now, that's Florence Radzilani, and how he explains how Florence Radzilani was paid 300,000 rand already. This is the mayor of Vhembe, right? There are people at Vhembe who were busy investing money. Remember, it was illegal to invest municipal funds into a mutual bank. But the whole point of bringing in Denim Mkhize and Florence Radzilani, according to Chifiwa Matodzi, is that they had to put political pressure on the accounting officers to do so. And that was done, which is why there's a number of CFOs, accounting officers, who were suspended and fired by the then Premier of Limpopo, Stan Mathabate, announced that. So those are ANC politicians and how they were involved. But he goes further to say, to my knowledge, Denim Mkhize was a politician, and at the relevant time, he was the provincial treasurer of the ANC in Limpopo province. Right? And then he goes on to say that Denim Mkhize assisted, Denny would be paid out of commission. So the work that Denim Mkhize was going to do in putting pressure on municipalities to illegally invest money in VBS, this was how he was going to be paid. And I quote here, for assisting VBS in securing municipal investments. That was the agreement. And then Denim Mkhize would be paid out of commission paid by VBS to Moshate, his business partner. To my knowledge, Denny's rewards for his involvement by using his political influence, which would lead to VBS securing municipal investments, Matsepe and Moshate, his business partners, were effecting such a reward for agents' commission received from VBS. So for putting political pressure on these municipalities, that's how he was paid, through his business partners. Now, we move to paragraph 11. This is where it mentions the former Director General of Treasury, Dondo Mokhajani. Chifiwa Matodzi says in his statement that he met with Dondo Mokhajani, and when he met with Dondo Mokhajani was with other people, someone called Raliom, and that person was involved in irregular activities in the following manner. and then he states them. Now listen to this part. Around August 2017, VBS started receiving inquiries from municipalities regarding communication from National Treasury, which was informing them, the municipalities, to withdraw their investments from VBS since the municipal management account prohibits any such investments with a mutual bank, of which VBS was. So that's the Municipal Finances Management Act. See the copy of communication herewith. So this person is indicating to us that there was a time in 2017 that Treasury told municipalities, disinvest. You were not supposed to put that money into the municipalities. And then he goes further to say, I discussed with Raliom, who informed me that he had a close relationship with Dondo Mukhajani, and he will arrange a meeting between myself and Dondo. To my recollection, I had at least 5 meetings with Dondo Mukhajani. One of those took place at Pedro Portia Cigar Lounge at Cedar Square in Fourways. The other meeting took place at VBS offices in Rivonia, whilst the other third meeting took place at Eagle Canyon on the 8th of October 2017. The other meetings, we had Treasury and the Reserve Bank. In all these 5 meetings, it was never just me and Dondo, but 1 or 2 other people. Now, these are the interesting bits. During our conversation in a meeting with Dondo Mukhajani, Raliom then softly whispered to me regarding our earlier agreement that I should pay an amount of 1 million rand to Dondo Mukhajani. That is when Raliom shared a whisper with Dondo, and then Dondo said 1 million rand is fine, nodding his head. In short, the purpose of this meeting was none other than to confirm the payment of 1 million rand and the bank account where it was to be made. I then inquired from where this payment was to be made, and that is when Raliom received a piece of paper from Dr. Mkhize, who was there with Dondo Mukhajani, and in turn handed that piece of paper to me. On that paper were the banking details. I then inquired if these were the banking details into which I was to make the 1 million rand payment for Dondo Mukhajani. Dondo Mukhajani said yes. I then left the meeting and the 4 of them remained. Following the above, an amount of 1 million rand was paid into the provided Standard Bank account with which the number, and he provides the bank account number. This bank account belongs to Bapilile Foundation NPC. See the copy. Therefore attached, marked and annexed. To my knowledge, this foundation is under the control of Dr. Mkhize. Remember, Dr. Mkhize came with Dondo Mukhajani to the meeting. The payment was intended for Dondo Mukhajani to intervene and facilitate the withdrawal of the National Treasury letter and to grant VBS the special dispensation of 18 months for it to continue to accept the municipal investments. At the time, VBS had already started the process to convert into a commercial bank. And in VBS's view, the envisaged 18 months would have given them sufficient time for the process to be expedited. That's the part about Dondo Mukhajani. Now, let's move to the EFF. How did they benefit? And I quote, to my knowledge, Skamega is a company owned by Brian Shivambu, a brother of Floyd Shivambu, who is the deputy president of the EFF. The company was provided to me by Floyd Shivambu to make payments that I promised to the EFF. I made this promise following the news which had broken in the media that VBS had granted Jacob Zuma a home loan for his Nkandla residence. Negative publicity arose in the country, particularly from those that were opposed to Zuma at the time. Among those was the EFF. I want to pause there and say this is actually confirmed. I've got a story here that the producers found for me where the EFF was actually calling for a probe into the loan that VBS had given to Jacob Zuma. And the statement that the EFF been released said the EFF will also seek further clarity on the main source and principle that led to the mutual bank, which is supposed to benefit ordinary people in Vembe, granting a loan to Mr. Zuma. Stay with me. I'm trying to demonstrate to you that what Chifiwa Matodzi is saying here about what the EFF said is true. And this is confirmed. You can go Google the articles where the EFF actually were not happy with the mutual bank granting a loan to Zuma. Still with me? Okay. He goes further to say the EFF had started a campaign of mentioning VBS in its political rallies through its president Julius Malema. As chairman of VBS, I then decided that Malema and the EFF should be approached for VBS to explain its position and how the loan was granted. Yeah? Then the meeting was arranged for me to meet Julius Malema at the EFF's penthouse in Sandton around April-May 2017. I went there alone. Present there was Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, and Marshall Dlamini. Marshall Dlamini did not participate in the meeting. He was seated far from where the engagement took place. Paragraph 27. I explained the VBS position to Floyd and Malema and the fact that the EFF's negative commentary about VBS Zuma transaction was damaging the VBS reputation. Furthermore, I explained that as black brothers, the EFF's constituencies were VBS target market also. I further informed them that the VBS was willing to offer a donation to the EFF. I then proposed that VBS can donate 5 million rand immediately once a bank account has been opened at VBS and 1 million rand per month to the EFF. I also made it clear that the amount could only be deposited into a VBS account and that the EFF should therefore open a bank account with the VBS. After I left this meeting, Floyd and I remained in contact. At some stage, Floyd indicated that they have opened an account at VBS in the name of a company called Skameka. Remember, Skameka is owned by Floyd Shivambu's brother. So Floyd Shivambu tells this man, we have opened a bank account under the name of the company called Skameka. Then a transfer of 5 million rand as promised was made on my instructions to Skameka on the 8th of June 2017. Subsequent payments were made to Skameka's VBS account every month and were paid from Vele Investments and any of Vele's subsidiaries. Myself, Julius Malema, and Floyd understood that concept of donation meant gratification. Hence, Floyd and Julius did not provide me with the EFF's own banking details for the donations. Further subsequent meetings were held between Julius, Floyd, and myself. The notable one was where Julius and Floyd informed me that they needed funding to renovate an EFF restaurant called Grand Azania in Soweto. I informed them of a VBS facility for such loans and referred them to David Ntlokwe, then the general manager of credit at VBS, to attend to this request. This loan application was made through Skameka and was approved, although I did not know the amount. After VBS was placed under curatorship, I met Floyd and his younger brother, Brian, several times at Floyd's residence in Bryanston. This was the first time I met Brian. At one of the meetings, myself, Floyd, and Brian agreed to regularize the 5 million rand plus 1 million rand monthly donations. It was agreed amongst us that we draft a contract between Vele and Skameka for consulting work in the petroleum and storage facilities. The said contract, which we backdated by agreement, was drafted by the Shivambu brothers. The signatories to that contract were myself, representing Vele, and Brian, who was representing Skameka. See the copy here. Oh my goodness. I could go on and on. The point here is what Chifiwa Matodzi is saying here, Floyd Shivambu or Julius Malema have said in the past. I'll play you clips of people like our Florence Razilani who are mentioned here and what they have said in the past. Till today, we still don't know what the contractual agreement between Floyd Shivambu's brother's company and Vele Investments, which was really looting money from VBS, was. We still don't know that. Why? Because according to Chifiwa Matodzi, they wanted to regularize the 5 million rand plus 1 million rand monthly donations that were going to go to the EFF. Not because there was actually a consultancy relationship between Skameka and Vele Investments. And remember, that's always been the position of even Floyd Shivambu. He said, but my brother did work. My brother worked for Vele Investments. They had their own consultancy work and their own consultancy contracts The man who signed that contract with him, the brother says, no. This contract was only manufactured to regularize those donations to the EFF with money that's flowing from VBS into Vele, then to the EFF. Let's take a break and take the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. You can give us some calls, WhatsApps as well, 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. What questions do you still have around how politicians were implicated in this scheme? There's also some parts that I'll read for you about Dr. Zweli Mkhize, because this man also details the meeting that he had with Zweli Mkhize and even the SACP. These are people who claim to represent the workers. And Chifiwa Matodzi says they were busy having secret meetings with him. The SACP received money from VBS. So did the ANC through Zweli Mkhize, according to Chifiwa Matodzi. I'll read for you what he says after the headline.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyatela.
On 702.
All right, 22 minutes now before 10 o'clock. I've read you Chifiwa Matodzi's affidavit. The reason this affidavit is so crucial is because this is the man who was the kingpin behind this looting of the over 1.8 billion rand of pensioners' funds. Poor people in and around Venda lost their pension. They lost their hard-earned monies that they saved with the bank because we have politicians and business people that are so filthy greedy. So Chifiwa Matodzi has mentioned some of them. So far, I've read to you what he says about the former Director General of Treasury, Dondo Mokhajane. I've read to you what he has said about meetings that he had with Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema, and how they discussed that Floyd Shivambu's brother would start a company and they would regularize the 5 million rand and the 1 million rand monthly payment to the EFF that would flow through that company, because obviously they didn't want a direct link between his company that was using money from VBS to the economic freedom fighters. We still don't have evidence of the relationship that Floyd Shivambu's brother's company had with Vele Investments, because he says, well, I had a consultancy work with them. I even have a contract to show for it. But this man says, oh no, we signed that contract, all of us together. In fact, it's the Shivambu brothers who worked on that contract. We signed it together, and it was just to regularize the money that was flowing to the EFF. Now, I need to read you a little bit about Dr. Zweli Mkhize. This is on page 67 of the affidavit, and it says, around 2016, a meeting was arranged to meet with Dr. Zweli Mkhize, who at the time was the Treasurer General of the ANC. The meeting was held at Mapilo Boardroom in Rivonia. Present was Dr. Mkhize, Andile, myself, and I think there was other members in the meeting who I cannot recall. The meeting was probably arranged by Joseph Nkadimeng. The purpose of the meeting was to ask Dr. Mkhize to assist VBS with accessing much larger facilities at the PIC. I recall an amount of 2 million rand, which was paid via Joseph Nkadimeng, or Tseke Nkadimeng, which was requested by Dr. Mkhize. The request was that the payment was for an ANC supplier. No further engagements after that were held with Dr. Mkhize after that meeting. For the SACP, he says, after the news that VBS had granted former President Jacob Zuma the loan, the SACP published a statement through its Gauteng chairperson at the time, Mr. Jacob Mamabolo. By the way, I did call Jacob Mamabolo this morning before I went on air. I asked him, can he come and explain what happened here? What he's being mentioned in an affidavit, and he said, I can't come. I don't want to comment on this right now. So the story was alleging that VBS was doing business with Gupta-linked entities called Vardospan and Habib Bank. I then instructed Gogoro Communications to obtain contacts for the relevant SACP individuals. A meeting was arranged by Gogoro for a meeting with SACP Gauteng team headed by Jacob Mamabolo and the VBS team led by Andile. I did not attend this meeting. Another meeting was later arranged between Mamabolo and I at the Boutique Hotel in Groenkloof, Pretoria. The meeting was a follow-up on the meeting held with Andile's team and how the Andile's team and how the relationship between VBS and the SACP could be improved. Another meeting was held between myself and Mama Bolo at the Palazzo Hotel in Fourways. At this meeting, discussions were general in nature, and Mama Bolo wanted to know more about VBS and how members of the SACP could be approached to bank with VBS. Around July 2017, I received a call from Mama Bolo seeking assistance with a settlement of the SACP conference bill of 3 million rand at the Birchwood Hotel in Kempton Park. Oh my God, I remember I was at this conference. On the 6th of July 2017, the 3 million rand that Jacob Mamabolo asked for was paid directly to the Birchwood Hotel from MML Food Services. There were no further requests from the SACP regarding payments. Okay, so that's what it is said there about Jacob Mamabolo. After the break, I'm going to bring in Polly van Wyk because she broke a story about how these monies were flowing way before any of us had the slightest idea of the grand scale of this fraud and corruption involving VBS. It's 17 minutes before 10.